Excellent. And thank you all for joining us and welcome, Kerry. I am so excited to have you with us here this morning and to have the opportunity to chat with you about your life and in particular, your experience with network marketing. We first met around about 2 years ago and oh my gosh, time flies, hey. And you are by far one of the most amazing, inspirational ladies I've ever had the pleasure to be able to meet. To give you all some idea of who Kerry is, she is a mum to two beautiful, amazing little boys, and she's no stranger to working long hours in the traditional employment landscape. So she understands the stress of being a working mum. Being introduced to network marketing has literally changed her life for the better. And through her passion for health and wellness, she's been able, and her passion for bringing working mums home too, she's been able to build a multi-million-dollar global business. My gosh, that is exciting to say. That is so exciting. This beautiful lady gets things done. She is honestly amazing, and I feel so blessed to not only be able to call you my mentor and a business partner, but also be able to call you a friend. And so thank you again for being with us tonight and to share a little bit of time.
Oh, thank you, Lisa. I'm so excited to do this. Thanks for putting this together, and it's an honor to join you on this.
Oh, thank you. So let's get started with some questions. I can't wait. Look at me rubbing my hands together. So to get things started, would you mind explaining to everybody a little bit about what your life was like as a working mum and struggling and juggling all the household, work, kids thing?
Absolutely. So I was a retail manager. Worked in retail for 13 years. I'd been a store manager at I was a manager at a department store and then a store manager at Bath and Body Works out in Arizona. I'd been there for 8 years and I worked 60, 70 hours a week. At the time when I was first introduced to network marketing, I only had one. So it was just very, very little, but I felt like we were working 60, 70 hours a week. My husband's an attorney. He works 1,000,000 hours, and I felt like we never saw each other, and we were like single parents passing the kid off and a sitter picking him up from a sitter from the sitter, and it just was not what I wanted my life to be like in the future. So I thought something's got to give, right? Because you're not going to get what you want doing the same thing that you've always done. So it was just crazy, like a whirlwind, but I feel like that's what, most people do, just struggling to kind of survive and, occasionally have a good day here and there.
Yeah, absolutely. I hear you. I feel like I'm sure most of the mums watching can relate to that. How many times have we spent it's midnight and we're in the laundry for goodness sakes, and we're only in there because we don't want to be doing it on the weekends. It's insane.
Absolutely.
So how did you get introduced to the industry of network marketing then?
Yeah, so actually a family member introduced me to network marketing. They made me go to a meeting that I was not excited about going to at all. I had to drive like an hour across town, and I honestly only did it because it was family, and I said yes, and I felt obligated to, fulfill my commitment. But honestly, I didn't know anything about network marketing. I didn't know it good or bad. I really didn't have preconceived ideas. I just didn't know about the industry. And I went to this meeting and I sat there, and honestly, I was at a transition point in my life. My eyes were open to an industry because I naturally share things. If I'm passionate about them, I'm always telling people about them. Like I do hot yoga, and I have told so many people about yoga. And so as I sat there, as simple as it sounds, I thought, wow, if I had a penny or a dollar or whatever for every person I told about yoga, and then every month as they paid their membership fees, right? And then as they've told friends about it that went, because that's exact scenarios happen, but I just did it because I believed in it. And, I thought it could help people, or doctors or books or, whatever it is. So that was how I first learned about the industry. And I was kind of blown away at the simplicity, but how powerful, because honestly, I didn't know about residual income either. And so I was like, wait a minute, you can get paid again and again and again for doing the work once and for helping people, and you're not going to get anywhere unless it's servant leadership unless you help your team. So that got me pretty fired up that night. I remember staying there crazy late, asking tons of questions, but sitting there like really quiet, actually taking it all in until afterwards. And then my mind was just reeling.
Oh, that is awesome. I can totally relate to that. We don't get taught residual income at school, isn't it? It's just this expectation that you get good grades, go to work and, go get a job or go to uni and then get a job and then sort of work. There's no concept of getting, working once and being paid continuously for it. Oh my gosh.
Exactly. In fact, my parents are both college professors, and I remember getting out of college. And you're taught to go to school and get a good education, work hard. And seriously, I was working 70 hours a week for $24,000 a year. And I remember saying to my dad, so you work the rest of your life for 2 weeks off a year? And he said, welcome to the real world, Kerry. And I'm a hard worker. I love to work, but I just thought there's got to be more than just this. But I had no idea. And then I went to this meeting and I'm like, whoa, I found a better way.
I love it. That's awesome. And how would you describe, so obviously, how would you describe that learning curve when you first started? You'd gone from that mindset of traditional employee to, moving more into a network marketing mindset and learning that industry. So how did you find that growth curve? And there are people who doubt their ability to do this. So what would your advice be in terms of that?
Absolutely. Well, it was overwhelming, right? I think anytime you start anything new, it's overwhelming, whether it's a new job or, when you first take the baby home, right? It's super overwhelming, or you just get married or whatever. And I really immersed myself in it. I was really, really fortunate. I had a great mentor, and I would absolutely recommend finding a good mentor, locking arms, being super coachable. I would say that was definitely one of the things that I didn't struggle with. I just thought, if I want what they have, I got to be willing to do what they've done. And the beauty of network marketing, the mentors are readily available to you. There is a system. They've proven, how to do this. So just, follow what they're telling you. Like, don't reinvent the wheel. Because I thought, why would I change what they've already had success with when I don't know this industry? But it's a lot to learn, but then it ends up being the same thing again and again and again. And I think the other thing is cut yourself some slack too. Like, don't expect to be perfect your first week or first month or first 90 days. Think of your regular job. If you've been there maybe 5 years, aren't you way better 5 years in or 10 years in than when you started? So don't expect perfection, and don't be so hard on yourself, but you don't have to know everything to get started. So.
Awesome. And that's perfect, isn't it? At the end of the day, you learn it's like on the job training. You kind of learn as you go, and following people who know and they've been there. That's so important too.
Absolutely. And I started this when I had actually my youngest, or I had a newborn baby who was literally 3 days old, and a 4-year-old. And so what I also love too is that you could work it into your life. So I could be listening to, training CDs or things online or whatever, like as I'm feeding the baby, as I'm doing laundry, as I'm doing things around the house, or as I'm driving my other one to, baseball or whatever. So I love that, you could learn as you lived your life as well.
Yeah, actually, it's funny you say that, because I was driving long hours at the time, 3 kids, older age groups, sport and work. And so I was in the car a lot, and I was doing the same thing, any audio CD I could get my hands on, and the kids would go, not more. But do you know, it subliminally sunk in, and I've heard the kids say stuff that I just smile from ear to ear, because I go, you would never have got that at school.
Absolutely. I love what this teaches our kids in terms of mindset and entrepreneurialism, and just, that you can set a goal and go after it and all those things. It's just incredible what this does for your kids. They are listening, even though they, pretend to say they're not.
They do. They are. I know. You're so right. And so, okay, for anyone who's contemplating it, who's a working mum who goes, okay, maybe there's something in this for me, what would you say if you could describe your lived experience in terms of real time and really like sharing it with people while you were working and fitting it into your day? What did that kind of look like, and what do you think is a realistic expectation for someone? And I know it depends on how much work and how much they share, but what is a realistic expectation for someone to be able to sort of build a little bit of residual income sort of on a monthly basis?
I think consistency is key. So I see a lot of people that'll go crazy hard and then, just stop because they can't keep that pace up. I would rather, just be consistent, so I would be like kind of locked and loaded before I started my day, and I would know exactly who I was going to call, so if I had a 15-minute drive to a sport or to pick a kid up or to whatever, that I could make a quick call. The same thing, or, whenever I had downtime, I knew exactly what I wanted to do with that. And just taking action, just keeping it short and simple, just sharing information with people, not trying to convince them, not trying to overwhelm them, but just a little bit of consistent action. So if they can make a call, everybody can make a call a day. Like, let's be honest, we have downtime. I think, if your company does meetings, I love being able to go to, minimum weekly meetings just to plug in and being reinvigorated, inspired by others, and to, and share with others. And training events too. I do feel like those are really, really critical. So I made that a priority and I just scheduled it. And I just thought, if this was my regular job, I would have to show up for training. And so, to me, I thought if I want this to exceed an income at my normal job, then it's unrealistic to expect that without sacrificing something. So I really didn't think it was a sacrifice. I just thought of it, boom, put it on the calendar and schedule around it.
Absolutely. And I've found that the people that are attracted into the opportunity, or certainly the one that we're in, are just beautiful souls. They are amazing people. They lift and inspire and empower. So those events that you're talking about, I was smiling when you were saying it, because I love going to those events. It's fun. It's like,
I would not want to miss them at all. Like, exactly. The people are amazing. Another thing too is what I love about network marketing is it's so easy to integrate it into your life, so I could be at the park, I could be at the pool, I could be at yoga, I could be with the kids, sporting things or school. Like my son's, teacher just was talking to me about something. And so I shared information with her as well. If you just genuinely, care for people and, truly know that you can help them and ask questions, you'll easily be able to share it as you go about your day. So I loved being able to kind of fit it into like the nooks and crannies of my day as well.
Oh, that's so good and so true. So do you have any, so we've talked about a little bit of how a working mum would fit that into their lives, but do you have any experiences, obviously we're talking about yours, but of your team? Have you got anyone that you know of who is a full-on busy, crazy working mum who is fitting this in and kind of what experience they're having as well?
Absolutely. So many people like come to mind that I'm thinking of, I've had, a person in the mortgage industry with 2 little girls and an online business, and her husband works and travels all the time. And I mean, just absolutely rocked it. And what I've kind of found is busy people get things done, honestly, right? On whatever it is, give it to a busy person and they're just the movers and shakers that make it happen. They don't make excuses. And I think it all comes down to that short-term sacrifice to create a whole different future. And so for me, no matter what, and the same thing with my people, my team that have been successful, it's like they had this huge vision and they knew where they were going to go, and they knew that this was the way that was going to get them there, and they knew what they were doing, before that wasn't. And so it was just, it's cool to watch people like never lose sight of that vision and always working towards that, if that makes sense.
Oh, that's perfect. That's awesome. And, I think this offers hope, because I find that so many mums that I come in contact with them and I talk to them, they feel so stuck. Like, it's like Groundhog Day, because every day is just work, eat, sleep, repeat, and when you're feeling under pressure, when that's not something you're enjoying, and you feel that constant mummy guilt because you're not having that quality time with the kids, or the end of the day comes and you just feel like you're going to snap because you've dealt with customers or people all day and your patience is at its limit. And, this tends to offer hope for people because they know it mightn't change overnight, but that they're moving towards something positive. And I think, I know a number of girls in my team are like that, and their lives are just so much better because they are now taking positive steps forward. So it's exciting. It's so exciting.
It is exciting. That hope, like you spoke about, I mean, hope is just unbelievably powerful, right? What people can do when they have hope. And that was really what I saw, like hope for a totally different future. And I was like, I am not letting go of that hope and that vision. And I just believed so strongly that I was willing to do whatever. But that like inspires you and lifts you and motivates you and gives you that energy when you would have been dragging otherwise. And yeah, and it's just a whole different environment. Like even people that are exhausted from their day jobs, like then they'll come to events and things like that, and they are totally renewed. It's just a completely different vibe. Like this feeds their soul versus like taking away from it. So
absolutely, it's so good. And so another question for you: there are so many network marketing opportunities out there. I mean, honestly, it feels like they're popping up every second. So what advice would you give to especially working mums, but to anyone, but especially working mums? What advice would you give that to give them an idea of how to work out what the best fit for them is, and sort of what a good opportunity would look like?
Absolutely. And that's a great question, because I was actually involved in network marketing one time before my current company, and I worked crazy hard at it for 2 years and did not make money, spent a lot of money, spent a lot of time, but I'm grateful for that because my eyes were open to the industry and I felt like it was boot camp, and that basically better prepared me for this. It's like you almost have to add those 2 years onto my time frame here. But it also gave me a better way to evaluate a company. You know, I think first it's got to align, you know, with what you're passionate about, right? And if it's something that really aligns with you, you know, that's critical. I think a 30-day consumable product is huge. I mean, I have so many people in my business that have been involved, whether jewelry or, you know, just different, you know, even cosmetic companies, and, you know, not knocking any of that, but, you know, I'm not going to go on auto ship for a necklace, or, you know, even I know I bought a foundation from a company before and it took me like 8 months to go through it. And so having a 30-day consumable product is huge. You know, it's got to be something really unique and different that you just can't find anywhere. Like category creating, like groundbreaking, that you are so proud to introduce to your family and friends about this. The timing is critical, right? You know, if you have the latest, greatest, or the best thing, but everybody knows about it, what good's that going to do you business-wise? The comp plan matters. I can tell you that it does. The company that I was with before, if I had my same group that I've got here, I would literally be making, you know, roughly 15 to 20% of what I'm making with this exact same group. So the comp plan does make a difference. And of course I didn't know that, you know, getting involved initially, and the support team and this system, right? So is there a system, and do you see the system as a fit for you? And the support team, you know, finding that mentor that I was talking about that you can lock arms with and really work with. I mean, and granted, the business, like, you've got to have it, like, you got to want this so much on your own, but having that support really, really is incredible as well. So I think some of those are different components as well. I do love having a publicly traded company also, just because there's transparency. You know, I've heard from some people that have been with other companies and they shut their doors unexpectedly and they had no idea. And that's really, really scary. So I love, you know, having that solid foundation where you know what's going on.
Yep, I love that. It's so true. It's funny, being a nurse, I wasn't even looking for network marketing, obviously. And, you know a little bit about my story, about the fact that, you know, my sister brought it to me thinking, and, you know, the product is 100%. It is. If it wasn't unique, if it wasn't something that is so damn beneficial, my gosh, I wouldn't be here. But, you know, you touched on some really amazing points, like that compensation plan. I had no idea what was good, bad, or in between, just lucked out on being involved in something amazing, because talking to some other ladies, they can be really restricted on what they can and can't earn, and how many levels that they can earn on, and how wide. It's crazy, and it does make a really big difference. So definitely, anybody who's looking for a network marketing opportunity, please do your research before you put that time and effort in, because you want to make sure you're compensated for that that we're putting that effort in. We want to come get that back. So lastly, can you please describe to us what your life is like now? So, kind of in terms of, you've got like a global multi-million-dollar business, which is just, it's exciting and it's amazing. So what does that look like though? So what is your day-to-day? What does that look like, and how does that operate, and how does that fit with your family?
It's so crazy. Honestly, it's hard to believe, to be really honest. And that's what I love about this industry, there's so many people out there that have completely different lives 7 years later. So I was actually introduced to my current company on Father's Day of 2010. So every year on Father's Day, I am just so, so grateful to my friend that introduced this to me, because I truly look back and I think, whoa, think of where we were, 7 years ago. So like I said, I started this with a newborn and a 4-year-old. Now my boys are 7 and 11. My husband was an attorney. He did commercial litigation, and honestly, he was miserable. He hated it. Very negative environment, but no hope of getting out. Right? We talk about not having hope, right? How do you quit being an attorney? And the retail manager was never, going to be able to earn what an attorney did. So my husband actually was able to walk away from being an attorney 27 months into me doing the business. So he's been a stay-at-home dad, and he was 39 at the time, and that'll be on Halloween. So coming up on 5 years, he's been home. So literally our lives are night and day difference. We never saw like the kids. I mean, it was just crazy. Even I remember my older one, when he was kindergarten, I would have to put him down at 5 at night after school for a nap, just so I could wake him up so he would see Todd. Otherwise, he wouldn't see him like Monday through Friday. And that's not okay, right? There is a better way. So now my kids have me and their dad. They don't even remember him working. It's so crazy. And, it's like on one hand, I feel like, like life, it's amazing, right? But I'm still, right? I'm, taking the kids to sports or doing laundry and doing this and doing that and juggling things. But I love this because I love to work. I'm passionate about helping other, moms and other people get freedom. I'm passionate about changing their lives through these products. So I love to work, but I love to work, on my own terms now. And I can say, well, I can't do it this night because Ryan has a baseball game, but I could do it a different night for you. If I want, I can go to yoga at 9:15 in the morning, which is crazy because I don't even get home from 11 to clean up, from that, where before it was like 5:30 in the morning, and that's just not fun. I get to see my husband, like we've worked out together, or we can go on hikes, or this summer my son, unfortunately they were in like an all-stars baseball team, and when they got knocked out of the competition, he had 1 week before school, but I was able to say, hey, let's go jump a plane and go on vacation. So we actually went to the Caribbean with like a few days notice, because all of a sudden we had 1 free week before they started school, and I said to my husband, what do you think? He said, I'm available. Because we don't have a boss, you guys. If you only knew what not having a boss or having residual income, the freedom, and you guys, it's not about the money, but that freedom. Or, my son just had something going on, and I was able to take him to this different doctor, and the doctor said, we hope we can help him, but we don't know. And he said, we'll know within the first 10 visits, and it's $1,500+, and then we'll know if it'll work or not, and then we'll have to do a lot more. And I was able to just say yes and swipe that credit card, right? So not having to make decisions for the kids, or for any of us based on time or money, whether that's health or sports. Like my older one, really serious on the baseball. Then he gets, private lessons and club teams and can travel, and just things like that. But also giving back. Like, we're going to Rocky Point, Mexico for our second time to build homes, and we get to do that as a family. And how cool for the kids to see that, right? People that, are in totally different circumstances, and to realize how important giving back is. But, thinking back to my retail days, the trips over Christmas, could never take time off at Christmas. I couldn't even see my in-laws for the first what was it, 13 years that we were married on the holidays, because we never, I mean, I had Christmas Day off and that was it. So it's just the freedom and that flexibility that you can design your life and live it the way that you really want to live it. And, you know, do whatever you're passionate about, but do it because you have a choice. And it's just so freeing, you guys. Or, you know, life will happen. You know, I've seen it again and again in my group. You know, unfortunately, sometimes, you know, things come up beyond your control. And to have that power of residual leveraged income that goes on without you, so that way you can be present and take care of whatever you need to do. Like, I just can't even tell you what that feeling feels like, and it is worth it. So it's hard work, you guys. I'm not gonna lie, I worked really hard, but guess what? We're all working hard anyway, right? I was gonna be working hard forever for peanuts. So it really didn't even feel that hard because I was used to working so hard. But it's that consistent, focused effort, really focus, you know, even if you have 15 minutes a day, focus and do that very consistently and never, just hold tight where you see that, you know, your vision, what you want out of this and how your life can be. Like, see it, like envision it, like full living 3D color, whatever, and never lose sight of that. And then just go work for it and fight for it. It is worth fighting for.
Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you. That's so powerful. I got the visuals on that. And I love what you said, because that's the middle of my vision board. I've got this little, little picture, infogram, and it says it's not about the money. It's about living life on your terms. And I think most working mums would agree, the money's irrelevant. It's just being able to have that ability to be a mum, to be able to make those choices, to attend those events, not to miss anything. I'm getting all choked up thinking about it, but that's what it's about, isn't it?
It is. And my husband can go on field trips or, go when, they have a little performance at school in the middle of a day. And, there's so few dads that get to do that. And just not missing those moments, that, I think we make so many sacrifices for a regular job and we don't even think of it as a sacrifice. That's just what you think it has to be. Well, guess what? It doesn't. Go create whatever you want. And then, just keep your priorities right. And remember what you built this for as well.
Absolutely. So in concluding, I'd just like to say to everybody, as an awesome reminder, if you always do what you've always done, you're always going to get that same result. So while you're busy, and I know we all are, if you continue the way you are with no change, your next 2 years, where will you be? Chances are you'll be exactly where you are now. But a network marketing opportunity offers you the chance to do a little extra to build that residual income. And your next 2 years could potentially look very different to where they would be. It's a no-brainer for me. This has got better odds than lottery, that's for sure. And so I'm very excited about that. So you've definitely given us something to think about this morning, Kerry. My gosh, thank you so much for your time. I am just always loving our conversations. You are amazing, honestly. And we seriously appreciate that time that you've given for us.
No, thank you so much. It's truly been my pleasure. And I think you're so right. And I think that was what I really, when I said I was at a transition point in my life, I'm like, okay, if I keep doing what I'm doing, the next 10 years are not going to look significantly different. And that wasn't okay. So, if you're watching this and you're just feeling like what you're doing isn't going to get you where you need to go, take a serious look at network marketing and do your due diligence, look at the industry and, and just see, is it a fit for you? And, what do you need to do to be successful? I will say it's all about the personal growth. But that is fun to, I hated public speaking and the growth I've had to go through because I wanted it so much. I was willing to do whatever it takes. But that is so powerful for your kids too. So just, truly think if you're not going to get where you need to get, doing what you're doing, right? Isn't that the definition of insanity or something like that?
Yeah.
So Thank you for doing this. And I hope someone finds value, and we would love to hear some huge, massive shift that you had, maybe a few years from now, and hear some fabulous success story after watching this. Wouldn't that be fun, Lisa?
Oh, that would be so fun. That would be amazing, actually. And that's what we do this for. That is so good. Thank you, Kerry. And thank you all for taking the time to watch. My name is Lisa Maree. I am the creator of Working Mum's Life, where mums thrive, not just survive. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
Bye.